The calendar flips to January, and there's a collective sigh of relief. It's a fresh start, a chance to do things differently. We make resolutions, determined that this year will be different. We promise ourselves to save more, spend smarter, and finally get ahead. For a few weeks, we feel in control, hopeful for a brighter future. But as February rolls in, motivation fades and old habits creep back. Soon, our grand resolutions are quietly shelved, and we wonder, why does this cycle repeat? Let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. It's about a woman we'll call Sarah. Sarah is brilliant at her job, a wonderful friend, and someone who always seems to have it all together. But behind the scenes, she's living a financial life of constant restarts. Every few months, she feels like she's finally making progress. She'll have a couple of good months where she saves a bit of money, pays down some debt, and feels a sense of security washing over her. She starts to breathe a little easier, thinking she's finally cracked the code and escaped the struggle. Then the car breaks down, or the boiler gives up, or a letter arrives with an unexpected tax bill. Suddenly, that hard-earned savings cushion is wiped out in an instant. All the progress she thought she'd made vanishes, and she's right back at square one. The feeling is crushing. It's not just about the money, it's the emotional toll it takes. It's the feeling of being knocked back down just as you were starting to stand tall. It's a cycle of building and collapsing, of hope followed by despair, that leaves her feeling exhausted and defeated. This isn't just Sarah's story. It's my story, and it's probably your story in some way too. It's the story of getting a pay rise and feeling rich for a week, only to find that your expenses somehow expand to swallow it whole. It's the joy of paying off a credit card, followed by the sinking feeling of having to use it again for an emergency just a few weeks later. It's that constant nagging feeling that you're running on a treadmill, putting in all the effort, but never actually moving forward. You're always just starting over. Each time this happens, a little bit of our hope chips away. We start to believe that maybe this is just how it is. Maybe financial security is for other people, not for us. We begin to accept the cycle as a normal part of life. We joke about being broke with our friends, but underneath the laughter, there's a real sense of resignation. This feeling of inevitability is one of the most dangerous parts of the cycle, because it stops us from believing that a different reality is even possible. It convinces us to stop trying. Being broke, or feeling on the edge of it, is a silent struggle we all share. It cuts across ages and backgrounds, but most of us hide it behind brave faces and highlight reels. Behind closed doors, we worry, we stress, and we feel alone. But what if we broke the silence and faced this together? In this series, we'll pull back the curtain on the broke cycle and show you that change is possible. The broke cycle isn't just about not having enough money. It's a loop. Relief on payday, paying bills, a brief calm, then a slow drain as daily expenses add up. By month's end, stress and anxiety return. Payday comes again, bringing relief, but the cycle just starts over. Shame is a powerful force that keeps the broke cycle spinning. Money is one of society's last taboos, and we often link our financial status to our self-worth. Struggling with money feels like a personal failure, making us hide our problems and avoid asking for help. But shedding this shame is the first step to breaking free and realizing our net worth doesn't define our self-worth. The anxiety of being stuck in the broke cycle takes a toll on our mental health. We often turn to retail therapy, buying things for a quick hit of comfort, But this stress spending creates a vicious cycle. The relief is short-lived, and the guilt and anxiety return, making things worse. Recognizing when we spend to cope is the first step to breaking free and finding healthier ways to manage stress. The pressure to appear successful is everywhere. From a young age, we're bombarded with messages equating wealth with happiness. Social media and advertising show us a glamorous life, exotic holidays, designer clothes, beautiful homes. We compare ourselves, feeling inadequate if we don't measure up. This pressure leads us to spend for appearances, even if it causes stress and debt. True freedom comes from defining success on our own terms, not society's. Many of our attitudes and behaviors around money are not things we consciously chose. They are learned. Our earliest and most powerful financial education comes from our families. We grow up observing how our parents or guardians talked about, managed, and felt about money, and these early experiences create a money blueprint in our minds that can influence our own financial lives for decades to come. Whether we are aware of it or not, we often end up repeating the financial patterns we witnessed as children, locking us into a cycle that may have been going for generations. If you grew up in a household where money was a constant source of conflict and anxiety, you might inherit a deep-seated fear and avoidance of dealing with your own finances. If your parents argued about bills, you may have learned that money is a dangerous topic that destroys relationships. As an adult, this can lead you to avoid looking at your bank statements or creating a budget because it triggers those old feelings of stress. This avoidance is a key component of the broke cycle, as problems that are ignored only tend to get bigger over time. Alternatively, you might have grown up in a family that had a spend it while you've got it mentality. If your parents were prone to impulsive splurging after payday, followed by lean times at the end of the month, you may have internalized this as a normal way to live. You may not have been taught the principles of saving, investing, or planning for the future, because those were not behaviors that were modeled for you. As a result, you might replicate that same boom and bust cycle in your own adult life, enjoying the highs of payday splurges, but then suffering through the end-of-month panic. Recognizing these inherited patterns is a profoundly important step in breaking the cycle. It's not about blaming our parents, who were likely doing the best they could with the knowledge and patterns they themselves inherited. Instead, it's about understanding the origins of our own financial instincts. By identifying these learned behaviors, we can begin to question them. We can ask ourselves, is this belief or habit actually serving me? This awareness gives us the power to consciously choose a different path and to start writing a new financial story for ourselves and for the generations that come after us. The broke cycle isn't just personal. It's reinforced by the world around us every day. Media and advertising show us unattainable lifestyles, making us feel like we need more to be happy. We're told happiness is just a purchase away, normalizing debt and constant spending. These invisible forces build the walls of the broke cycle, making it feel inescapable. The "you deserve it" narrative is everywhere. Advertisers, friends, even our own inner voice. It links spending money to self-care, making impulse buys feel like a reward for hard work or a cure for a bad day. But this mindset is a trap. It reframes overspending as entitlement, letting us ignore budgets and long-term goals for instant gratification. The truth? Deserving something doesn't mean you can afford it. Social media amplifies this, blurring the line between real self-care and consumerism. When we're stressed or tired, this message is most tempting, but it's a quick fix, not a real solution. True self-care is about choices that build long-term well-being, including financial stability. Break the cycle by telling yourself, I deserve to be financially secure. Find ways to reward yourself that don't come with a price tag or regret. Most of us never learned real-world finance in school. No budgeting, no credit basics, no saving for the future. We're thrown into adulthood unprepared, forced to learn through costly mistakes. This lack of education leaves us vulnerable to bad advice, predatory products, and financial fear. We end up thinking we're just bad with money, but it's not our fault. We were never taught. This knowledge gap keeps us stuck in the broke cycle, feeling powerless. Accessible, clear financial education is essential to break free. It's not about being naturally good with money. It's about learning the skills we were never given. The first step to change is understanding that it's not a personal failing. Nothing stings like a setback after weeks of discipline. An emergency wipes out your savings in an instant. Suddenly, all your hard work feels wasted, and you're back at square one. The financial loss hurts, but the blow to your motivation is worse. It's easy to think, why bother? When every step forward seems to be erased by bad luck. This cycle of hope and disappointment convinces many to give up. It reinforces the feeling that you're not in control, that financial struggle is your destiny. But setbacks are part of the journey, not the end. Resilience means reframing these moments as temporary, not permanent defeat. The key is to get back up, again and again. After enough setbacks, it's easy to believe the broke cycle is just your reality. You start thinking, I'll always struggle with money, and stop looking for solutions. This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't believe change is possible, you won't try. Friends and family may reinforce this belief, normalizing financial struggle. It creates an echo chamber where hardship feels permanent. Breaking free starts with rejecting the myth of inevitability. Tell yourself, this is how it is now, not forever. Change begins with believing a different future is possible. Until you believe, you can't begin the journey out. The broke cycle feels unbreakable, but it isn't. The first step is a mindset shift. Believe a different future is possible. Hope isn't wishful thinking. It's the fuel for action. Start telling yourself a new story. You're capable, you're learning, and you can take back control. You don't have to feel confident. Just act, even if you're scared. Breaking the cycle means trying again, this time with new understanding. Let go of shame and guilt from the past. Today is a new day. Move from understanding the problem to solving it. We'll explore practical steps next. Not quick fixes, but real, lasting change. Your escape route starts now. The first step to breaking the cycle: track your spending. It's simple but powerful. Knowledge is power, and you can't change what you don't see. Use a notebook, spreadsheet, or app. Just record every penny for a month. Don't judge or change your habits yet. Just observe. At the end of the month, review the numbers. You'll likely be surprised. This isn't about guilt. It's about seeing the patterns that have been invisible. Tracking shifts you from passive to active. You're paying attention now. Awareness is the foundation for all other changes. Once you see where the leaks are, you can start patching them. This is your first real taste of control. The journey to financial power starts here. Once you know where your money is going, it's tempting to change everything at once. But that all-or-nothing approach rarely works. Start small. Pick 1 or 2 easy changes, like making coffee at home twice a week or cancelling unused subscriptions. Each tiny win builds momentum and confidence. Over time, these small steps add up, breaking the cycle and building real, lasting financial health. The broke cycle thrives on isolation, making us feel alone in our struggles. But breaking that silence, finding someone to share your journey, can be transformative. An accountability partner helps you celebrate wins and stay on track. If you can't talk to someone close, online communities offer support and inspiration. Remember, you're not alone. Shared goals make us stronger. We've explored the broke cycle, the setbacks, and the power you hold to change your story. The past doesn't dictate your future. Progress is made in small, deliberate steps. Choose one small action today. This is your call to action. The broke cycle ends here. Your new story starts now.